It's Marley from the Energy Boutique with your energy forecast for Sunday, February 26th. So we have the moon in Taurus preparing to go void of course at 9:43 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we will be moving into Gemini energy at 10:48 a.m. So just a very small window where the moon will be void, and of course that is a welcome thing, seeing as the moon being void of course typically brings us a little bit of shakiness, a little bit of uncertainty, a little bit of instability. Now, anytime that we're moving from this earthy fixed energy of Taurus to the light airy energy of Gemini, we are definitely going to feel like things are speeding up. Of course, the last couple of days with the moon being in Taurus, we had to slow things down, really practicing being present in the here and now. Well, those days are over. Now we are looking to come out of our introverted shell. We are looking to pick up the pace. We are looking to socialize and bounce ideas off of other people. And of course, with the moon in Gemini, we become very curious. We have a lot of questions. We want to kind of dip our toe in all kinds of different things. We're looking outside of ourselves for stimulation. So we're definitely going to feel that shift take place within us. And with 10 different aspects here today, and 7 of them involving the moon, we are definitely going to be kind of bringing new energy, new ideas to our inner realm for contemplation. So the moon is going to sextile Neptune while still in this Taurus energy. And this is a beautiful vibe because, of course, Taurus and Pisces energy that Neptune is in is a beautiful recipe to be able to align with a higher vision, a higher dream, a higher goal, tap into that creative juices, and of course, be able to actually bring it to life. Emotionally speaking, we can get very excited, very eager, very inspired with these new ideas, these new dreams, these new goals, and we start working on how it is that we're going to bring certain elements of these dreams, visions, and goals to our physical realm and reality. The moon will semi-square Jupiter, which is a little bit of a tension point. This is definitely going to turn the volume all the way up and magnify where it is that we're not feeling so safe, secure, stable, where we're not feeling very present. And most of that is due to Jupiter being in Aries energy, just wanting to take action, wanting to push the boundaries, wanting to put ourselves out there. And of course, we're in an introverted state of being with the moon in Taurus, and we want nothing to do with that. We just want to kind of stay in our little comfort zones. And of course, Jupiter wants to push us outside of those comfort zones. So we're definitely going to feel a little bit of inner struggle here on trying to kind of balance, if you will, our want, need, and desire to stick with the here and now, to kind of keep in our little cozy little ball of comfortability, and of course contemplate where it is that we do want to put ourselves out there, where we do want to create new opportunities, and where we do want to take action. But of course, I don't think that action will be kind of coming to life anytime soon. But we are definitely giving ourselves permission to kind of jump out of the present moment and think about what it is that we want to accomplish, what it is that we want to pursue in a futuristic reality. Now, here's where things get a little bit tough. Mercury, ruler of the mental plane, ruler of information and communication, is in Aquarian energy, so the highest form of our intellect. We are semi-squaring, which is a tension point with Venus, the goddess of love, beauty, worth, pleasure, money, who is in Aries energy. So this is going to be a little bit of a cluster F, if you will, only because we're not thinking very clearly. We're kind of all jammed up in our headspace and in our heart space. And this can definitely lead us to some very interesting misunderstandings. We're not speaking clearly, we're not thinking clearly, we're not expressing ourselves clearly, and therefore that opens a large possibility for miscommunications and misunderstandings to actually take place. Even more than that, this is really going to put a lot of intensity on whatever it is that we're still on the fence about. So this is bringing up a lot of indecision within us. We aren't very certain. We aren't feeling solid. And this is going to illuminate for us the ifs, ands, and buts, the pros and cons, the elements in which we're not feeling comfortable with in order to make a solid decision. Now, we're having a hard time here because we're not able to connect to our heart space as strongly as we would like. There's some fuzziness here. We're kind of being all gunked up at the moment. We're not really able to align with our higher self. We're not able to tap into our raw and authentic heart space. And in our head space, it's very hard to concentrate. There's too many windows open. And so when you can't align with your heart space and you can't align with your head space and you can't align with your intuition, well, that makes for a very confusing time. And that confusing time in our inner realm can be projected outwardly onto other people in conversation, in energy exchanges, and has the possibility to really kind of ruffle some feathers if we're not careful. Now, the moon will go ahead and semi-square Chiron, the wounded healer. And this isn't going to feel very good either. Now, what we're getting at here is the last couple of aspects that the moon in Taurus will be making before going void, of course, before we set out on this beautiful journey to move into Gemini energy. So over the last couple of days, we've been trying really hard to stay present. We've been plucking out the silver linings. We are focusing on what makes us happy, what gives us joy, what brings us pleasure, especially where the small little details, the smaller things in life are concerned. But now we're at the tail end. We're at the crisis and critical degrees of this Taurus energy. And now it's kind of like we are tapping into the not so nice qualities and characteristics of this Taurus energy. And one of that being stubbornness. We are in a fixed energy. We don't want to move. We don't want to change. We're not comfortable. Suddenly, we are just holding on to the older elements for dear life. And Chiron, the wounded healer, is here to illuminate where it is that we are kind of losing ourselves in indecision, in insecurity, in instability, where we're not feeling so happy-go-lucky, where we're not feeling present. And because we are kind of drifting either in the past to review certain aspects of our experiences, or we're projecting ourselves into the future realm of the experiences that we want to create, what we're missing is this present moment. And that's okay at this particular point in time because the present moment doesn't feel so freaking good. So this is what Chiron is actually bringing to our attention. And if you want to do a deep dive, whatever emotions, whatever thoughts are coming up, whatever topics and themes are coming up right now, where instability, where you're not feeling safe, where you're not feeling secure in your relationships, in your routines, or where in your money matters are concerned, this would be an interesting time to do a deep dive to really examine those wounds and where the primary root cause of some of these thoughts and feelings are actually stemming from. The moon will get into the boxing ring with Saturn, the Lord of Karma, who rules over our roles and responsibilities, who rules over structures and foundations, who's nearing the ending point of his particular point of life lesson and learning in this Aquarian energy that we've been in since 2020. We have the moon squaring off with Saturn, which brings a little bit of a negative vibe. Negative Nancy, Betty the Bully comes out to play. What are they trying to play? Well, they're trying to paralyze us. They're trying to make us afraid. They're trying to remind us why we should just be content and settle for this present moment and the circumstances that we're already in, because the last thing that the dark force energies want at this point is for us to move forward and create a new reality where happiness and joy and pleasure are the name of the game. Why, you may ask? Because that is a vibration and frequency that they cannot tamper with. And so what we get here is a whole lot of weight on our shoulders, weight on our heart space. We are definitely feeling like we're being put through the ringer emotionally. We are feeling the pressure, the intensity of our to-do list and all that is required of us in order to bring new systems, structures, and foundations to life. 9:42 a.m. The moon, still in Taurus energy, is going to trine, which is a beautiful energy, with Pluto, the great transformer. Now, this is the last aspect that the moon in Taurus is going to make before going void, of course, and it is a beautiful one because it does mean that we somehow are triggering and activating a shift, a change within our emotions, within our headspace. We know that because Pluto is the great transformer who likes to do a deep dive in our psyche to see where it is that we can kind of change things up and rewrite the script, and in doing so, really change the emotions that we have. And so this trine is because, of course, the moon being in Taurus energy and earth energy, and Pluto being in Capricorn energy and earth energy, we're blending these earth energies together. And emotionally speaking, we're gearing up for a great change, for a great transformation, as hesitant as the moon in Taurus kind of is to make those particular changes. We just came out of the boxing ring with Mr. Saturn, and one thing about a Taurus is you tell them they can't, and they will, just to show you that they can despite you, basically. And so this particular interaction with Saturn, this negative Nancy Debbie Downer type of attitude, doesn't sit very well with us right now. And therefore, that darkness that you can't or you won't, or, all of these negative thoughts and emotions telling us that we should just stay small and stay the same is enough of an inspiration, a trigger, an activation, a catalyst for us to kind of boss up and say, guess what? You say I can't, I'm gonna, just to prove you wrong. Sometimes that's the attitude that we need to have. So like I had mentioned, 9:43 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, the moon goes ahead, goes void, of course, locks into this Gemini energy. 10:48 a.m. and at 11:12 a.m. we have Venus making a very awkward interaction with the sun. Now, this is a little bit of a friction point, I would say. Venus, of course, the goddess of love, beauty, worth, pleasure, money, in Aries energy, trying to start a brand new chapter for herself, really trying to identify who and what needs to stay, needs to go, what she actually is excited and passionate about as far as this new pursuit of happiness, what it is that she actually wants for herself, especially where relationships are concerned. But the confusion that we're sitting in here today, especially because we're in Pisces season, right? The sun being in Pisces energy is confusing. Even at its best, it's confusing because it's vague, it's lacking details, it has no boundaries. It just ebbs and flows. All of a sudden, we'll have a moment of clarity, and just as fast as it comes on, it removes itself. And so what we're kind of realizing here in this particular awkward aspect is that we have a little bit of healing to do. Of course, Pisces energy, Pisces season, beautiful for healing on an emotional and a spiritual level. And Venus, who just went through her time in Pisces, yep, she went through a purge, she went through a releasing time, but now she's in this clean slate trying to identify the direction forward. And she's realizing right now, because of the indecision that she's having, that she's not really sure what to do. She's not really sure where to go. And so instead of just pushing forward like this Aries energy would prefer her to do, act on impulse, take actions, make moves, deal with the long-term consequences later, not really her jam at this particular point. There's a huge realization on where it is that maybe she needs to take a time out and really examine what it is that she was overly eager to cut the cord with as far as, past situations, past memories, past emotions. There is like this pause that we need to take in order to recognize the wounds that we're still carrying, regardless of whether or not we wish that we brought them to an ending point or not. And before we can actually charge forward and create something new and be straightforward in identifying what it is that we want, we have to kind of figure out what it is that we aren't wanting. We have to use the framework of deciding the experiences that we're done with, that we've outgrown, that have caused us pain and trauma, in order for us to conjure up a new reality that would take that particular experience's place. And right now, Venus, who is very eager to get the party started, being in this fresh cycle, she's already kind of blazed a brand new trail, but now she's like, hold up. Maybe I should just sit and contemplate what it is that I'm actually running from, instead of trying to identify what it is that I'm running to, because there's a connection between the two. And of course, the sun here in Pisces energy is providing a very bright light on where it is that we have to do some emotional healing before we go ahead and really kind of assert ourselves in this new path, in this new direction. Jupiter is going to go ahead and make a very positive interaction with Pluto. This screams growth for a couple of reasons. First of all, Jupiter is all about growth and expansion. He's all about our beliefs. He's all about our blessings. He's all about the wisdom that we've accumulated through some of the tough love life lessons that, of course, we've all gone through. Pluto, of course, the great transformer himself in Capricorn energy. This has been about breaking down where it is that we do not feel in power, do not feel in control, do not feel like the writer, director, producer, and shining star of our own movie, where it is that we've given our power away in the past and what that has meant for us. And of course, Pluto's whole purpose here is to kind of beat us down in order to build us back up. Now, lucky for us, this is a positive exchange between the two. And what we're kind of coming up with here is that we are making huge strides in our inner realm of not only healing past wounds, not only seeing where it is that we need to kind of stop in the present moment, celebrate our growth, celebrate what it is that we've been able to accomplish, but where it is that we actually want to set our sights on now. Now, the fact that Pluto's involved means that there's been an aha moment that has triggered a change, a shift in our perception, in our understanding, in our psyche, that of course has a domino effect to really change emotionally what it is that we want to do. This likely has a tie to power exchanges in relationships. This is an empowerment type of energy. And so what we're doing here is, using Jupiter's magnification of in this Aries energy of wanting to start fresh, wanting to create something new, wanting to put ourselves out there, wanting to take the lead, wanting new experiences. And whatever it is that has been holding us back, we are finally starting to kind of trigger and agitate in our psyche to break up the blockages so that we can actually move forward. So this kind of screams that there is some kind of shift going on within us, and that this is positioning us in a much more powerful situation to go out in the world to, do what it is that we got to do in order to create opportunities for ourselves, to lead us to happiness, to joy, to pleasure, instead of sitting back and allowing, things happen to us. We want to get out there and we want to make things happen for us. Now, this particular aspect is at 8:49 p.m. So we go the majority of the waking hours of the day with no energy, no aspects. The moon in Gemini hasn't even popped off yet. And the moon in Gemini at 10:05 p.m. Eastern Standard Time finally makes an appearance, and it is an awkward interaction with the true node. And of course, the true node is our soul path. It's our destiny points, trying to get us on the right path in the right direction in order to reach our soul's mission, our soul's purpose, our soul's potential. But this is a cluster F in our headspace because we just moved into Gemini energy. We are rapid firing questions within ourselves and maybe out in the world, depending on who you're surrounding yourself with. We're opening up ourselves to different choices, different options, and we're trying to sort through emotionally how we feel about that. So at this particular point, we may see an opportunity for growth that we're not prepared to take as of right now, because we need more information, more time to kind of sort out the pros and cons, the details of the situation before we lock in and actually make that move moving forward. The last aspect that we have here today is the moon in Gemini making a harmonious aspect with Neptune, who of course is in Pisces energy. I find it super interesting that we start the day off with the moon, although in Taurus energy, making a beautiful aspect with Neptune, and we end the day off with the moon, now in Gemini, making a beautiful aspect with Neptune. What do we get with the moon in Gemini and Neptune in Pisces? A rapid firing imagination. We tap into the dream-like qualities, the imaginative qualities, the fantasy-like qualities of Pisces. We bring it into the mental plane where the Gemini energy typically rules over. We add some logic and practicality to it. We add some structure. We kind of fish through the details, and then we drop it into the heart space. The moon is our heart space, and we really try to decide the pros and cons of what it is, of these new ideas, these new dreams, this new fantasy that we're looking to bring to life. So there's a lot of stimulation going on in our inner realm, which is going to be a very dramatic shift from the last couple of days of trying to keep things kind of still and quiet with the moon in Taurus. Now we're rapid firing. We're conjuring up new ideas. We're jumping from one thing to the next. We are curious, but we are scatterbrained at the same time. We're not thinking clearly. We're not aligned with our heart space. We're having a hard time getting in touch with our higher selves. And so it's just bouncing ideas off of ourselves at this point. And that can be very overwhelming. What I would say is get a pen and paper available to you and write down any idea that kind of gets you excited, gets you passionate, because as quickly as it comes, it can go just as fast, and leaving you with not even a remembrance of what it is that you were even excited about. So just make sure that you are paying attention to the ideas coming into your head, the emotions that it makes you feel. And if they are good ones, by all means, write that baby down so that you can work with that a little bit more in detail when the universe supports us in concentrating and focusing on bringing some plans to life.